Right now on Hoosier News Source, the opioid crisis is a growing concern here in Indiana. Find out about IU's newest initiative to help combat the problem.
And with homecoming this past weekend, thousands of Hoosier alumni came back to Bloomington. We have the details on how the IU Police Department kept Hoosier fans safe in the big crowds.
And I've got how long you can expect this beautiful weather to stick around. These stories and more. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Hoosier News Source. I'm Andrew Lamparski.
And I'm Amelia Miles.
To start off the show, Sarah McCorkle joins us live in studio with this week's weather. Sarah?
Thanks, Andrew. So Wednesday's going to be another beautiful day. 2 p.m. temperatures around 70 degrees, 5 p.m. cooling down a little bit to 67, and then really cooling down at 8 p.m. at around 61 degrees. And we can expect these comfortable temperatures and sunny skies to stick around for the next few days as a result of a high pressure system passing through the area. So as we take a look at the map, we can see a high pressure system coming through that will leave sunny skies and nice temperatures around for the whole week, and this is perfect for if you're going to Hoosiers area this weekend. So let's take a look at that forecast. So as you're waiting in line to get into Assembly Hall for Saturday's Hoosiers area, temperatures will be around 78 degrees, so a little bit warmer than what we've been experiencing this week. And as you head out after Hoosiers area is over, maybe consider packing a light jacket because it's going to cool down a little bit to 65 degrees as you head home. So now let's take a look at the weekly forecast and what you can expect. So as you can see, we'll be experiencing very fall-like temperatures, beautiful weather up until Sunday as a cold front will pass through that night, leaving us with a small chance of rain. And then temperatures will again cool down a little bit Monday and Tuesday. So it's going to be a beautiful fall week, so let's really take advantage of it. Andrew, Amelia, back to you.
This past Thursday, an SUV struck two students while they crossed 17th Street at Fee Lane. The vehicle struck an 18-year-old female, later transported to IU Health Bloomington Hospital. A side mirror hit the 19-year-old male who attempted to push her out of the way. Police brought the driver, Loy Baird, from Vincennes to Vanderburgh County Jail under an arrest warrant for check fraud.
It's that time of year again when student stress levels are hitting an all-time high. CABS Counseling and Psychological Services hired 4 new counselors to better serve the student body. The hiring of these positions was recommended by the Provost's Mental Task Force as part of its plan to address the growing demand for mental health resources on campus. In addition to counseling, they help with the Let's Talk program, a program where they hold office hours at cultural centers around campus to put students in an environment that makes them feel more comfortable.
It's important to be, while you're on campus, to talk with someone, whether it's about your time management or your relationship or your family life or your career, to have someone there who understands not only a cultural background or just the situations that you're in.
Be sure to catch them at cultural centers around campus. For more information, visit healthcenter.indiana.edu. And now Hoosier News Source reporter Caitlin Berman joins us in studio with details on IU's newest initiative to help combat the current opioid crisis. Caitlin?
IU President Michael McRobbie recently announced that the university will be taking a $50 million initiative to combat the increasing opioid crisis. The efforts will focus on decreasing the number of opioid overdose deaths, the number of babies born addicted to opioids, and the overall abuse of the substance. The program will combine several of IU's research teams in various fields of study to search for a resolution. The nursing school's associate dean says that the team will be working through basic, applied, and translational science to address the issue.
In terms of how the School of Nursing is working with this particular issue, we have scientists and researchers that will be involved, where we will be drafting proposals and working specifically with the community.
This initiative will be the third of IU's Grand Challenges program, an overall $300 million effort dedicated to finding solutions for current issues in humanity. The Grand Challenges program is set to run for the next 5 years and will be led by the Dean of IU School of Nursing, Robin Newhouse.
Thank you, Caitlin. Governor Holcomb even had a say, praising Indiana University for taking steps that he says will save lives.
Now, Andrew, I truly think this is a step in the right direction for schools all over the country.
Yeah, I really think that it's important that IU sets an example for schools all over the country.
I agree. Saturday, thousands of Hoosiers fans traveled to Bloomington to celebrate homecoming. Hoosier News Source reporter Tess Plasick found how IUPD heightened security to ensure everyone's safety.
Safety is the #1 priority of the Indiana University Police Department, and safety at football games and tailgates is no exception. Saturday's homecoming game drew thousands of football fans alike to Bloomington to witness the Hoosiers take on Michigan. Although experience and training are essential for preparing for crowds such as this one, tragedies such as the October 1st shooting in Las Vegas raise concerns for such a large crowd. IUPD Captain of Operations Craig Monroe explains how the department is staying proactive during these times.
We do plan, try to plan for worst case scenarios. Our security is layered out from the officer that's directing traffic and watching people as they come and go to the officers that are working at the gates.
Crowds at the game weren't the only concern for officers. Traffic and reckless driving are the most common issues at these events.
It would be better for you to be concerned about as being a pedestrian and working in the traffic, or if you're in a car and driving with people that are from, say, whether it be Michigan or coming here for homecoming.
With a sold-out stadium at Saturday's game, there were over 100 police units at the stadium, both from IUPD and from other surrounding departments. The Hoosier spirit wasn't interrupted by the thought of safety concerns on Saturday, even with a packed stadium, tailgate fields, and parking lots. Freshman Gabby Ball says she feels safe both on campus and at tailgates.
I think the abundance of cops doesn't make it feel a lot safer, because you know that they can kind of control situations, and if anything gets out of hand, they have it under control.
IUPD and other surrounding police departments will continue to adapt to the growing crowds to ensure a safe experience for all of those who visit IU. For Hoosier News Source, I'm Tess Plasick.
The Hoosiers has 2 more home football games this season. Find out more and how IUPD maintains the safe environment for students and fans alike at iupd.indiana.edu.
President McRobbie delivered the State of the University address this past Tuesday. He touched on the use of online education, assuring excellence in teaching, and learning and preserving IU collections for a greater use. He stated that as one of the leading public research universities, IU contributes to the local community and the world at large. McRobbie concluded with thanking the administrators, staff, and students and alumni who supported IU's mission to improve the world for future generations.
Coming up, we tell you how the Hoosiers did in sports this week.
Plus, Somalia has been without peace for decades, with many attacks that occur yearly. We have more on the most recent and deadliest double-car bombing.
These stories and more coming up. Stay with us.
And it's an honor to be here.
After suffering a season-ending injury in late March,
As you can see behind me,
This year alone, Indiana University is projected to use 180 million kilowatt hours of electricity and 660 million gallons of water. I found out how the Campus Office of Sustainability is continuing to decrease these numbers with their annual Energy Challenge. Every semester, the Energy Challenge seeks to cut some of the university's energy consumption with a little friendly competition. Each residence hall and Greek house, as well as several other buildings on campus, compete to cut their energy usage by the greatest percentage. The Director of Energy Management for all 8 of IU's campuses, Keith Thompson, explains that the challenge starts on an individual level.
It's more just being in tune with what your impact is on each building. You know, when a building's unoccupied or you're not in your dorm room, maybe in the wintertime you want to open your curtains and let the sun shine in, and in the summertime you might want to close your curtains to keep the heat out.
What makes this challenge unique is the fact that students and staff have to work as a community in order to lower their total energy consumption. Right now I'm here outside of Teeter Residence Hall, where I met up with the person spearheading the building's efforts.
I think it's important on a couple different levels. I think one of the major ones is the goal of the overall challenge, which is to try to conserve as much energy as we can. We're a really large campus with a lot of people, so we use up quite a bit of energy.
The challenge, which started 10 years ago, has helped the university save over $500,000 in energy costs. With little changes, the university is capable of saving even more.
Turning off the lights, unplugging devices that are not being used, not taking long showers, turning off the water when you brush your teeth, simple things like that.
I think one of the best ways to conserve energy is just to continue to educate people on the best ways to efficiently use water, electricity, other energy sources.
Although the energy challenge only takes place for a month, the awareness it creates encourages students to conserve energy beyond. So far, this semester's energy challenge has saved the campus over 140,000 kilowatt hours of electricity and almost 1 million gallons of water. For more information and the current rankings of each building, check out energychallenge.indiana.edu. This week is the start of a brand new segment here on Hoosier News Source, where Courtney Sisk has the lowdown on the latest news occurring around the world. Courtney?
Welcome to the Lowdown. I'm Courtney Sisk. Let's take a look at what's been going on in the world around us. At least 41 people have been killed in the Northern California wildfires, while over 200 are still missing. The fires began in early October and remain ongoing. According to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, an estimated 217,000 acres have already burned, leaving many people and animals without homes. Officials say the biggest threat is the low humidity that remains in the area. And now, just across the pond, over 300 people were killed in Somalia's deadliest attack on record. 2 of the truck bombs went off in Mogadishu on Saturday in what the U.S. has called a cowardly attack. Somalia's government blames the al-Qaeda-linked al-Shabaab extremist group, but they have yet to claim it. The death toll continues to rise as Mogadishu is Somalia's capital and is densely populated. Well, there is some hope for the future in Palestine. A unity deal on Gaza control has broken up a decade of hostility between Hamas and Fatah, the 2 Palestinian factions. However, citizens are skeptical on the agreement, claiming they have seen this play out before in Palestine. Many details have not been released or discussed, but the Palestinians remain hopeful for a united government. A persecution of the Rohingya in Myanmar has been going on for over a year now. The military crackdown in Myanmar has targeted mainly Muslim Rohingya people. Myanmar is predominantly Buddhist, causing many issues with their minority Muslim population. Roughly 400,000 people have left Myanmar to seek refuge in Bangladesh. The refugees have recounted rape, mass murder, and the destruction of villages. Some are calling this a sign for the Rohingya people to get out, while others are claiming this is an example of mass ethnic cleansing. Lastly, a Canadian-American family has been released this past week after spending 5 years in captivity in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Joshua Boyle and Caitlin Coleman were backpacking through Central Asia when they unknowingly crossed into Afghanistan. The couple was captured by a militant group and held captive for years. The family of 2 grew into a family of 5 while they were held in captivity. All 5 of them were freed this past week after being moved to a Pakistani territory. That's all for this week's Lowdown. If you know of a world news topic you'd like covered, let me know on Twitter at CGSiskNews. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Courtney Sisk.
Thanks, Courtney. Moving on to sports. Many IU sports teams were back in action this weekend. IUS-TV sports reporter Andrew Walker joins us in studio with the highlights. Andrew?
Thanks, Amelia. The Hoosier football team took on the number 17 Michigan Wolverines on Saturday, and despite taking Michigan to overtime, the Hoosiers fell 27-20. Michigan got on the board with a field goal and in the second quarter scored a touchdown, and the Wolverines led 10-3 at the half. In the second half, IU outscored Michigan 17-7 and put it within 3. Griffin Oakes booted a 46-yard field goal as time expired to tie Michigan and force overtime. Michigan ended up scoring on the first play of overtime, and IU was unable to respond. IU drops to 3-3 overall and 0-3 in Big Ten play. The Hoosiers will make the trip to East Lansing, Michigan next Saturday to take on the 18th ranked Michigan State Spartans. The #1 ranked team in the nation was back on the pitch at Bill Armstrong Stadium on Sunday night as the #17 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes made the trip to Bloomington. Freshman Mason Toy was the big performer in the contest, finding the back of the net twice in the Hoosiers' big win. Indiana beat Ohio State 2-0 on Sunday's contest, and the top-ranked Hoosiers improved to 12-0-2 on the season, and will play #16 Butler University in Indianapolis on Wednesday. On the other side of the pitch, the women's soccer team took on the Nebraska Cornhuskers on Sunday, and the Hoosiers took the Cornhuskers to double overtime, but in the contest ended in a draw. Indiana and Nebraska kept each other in check the whole way, with the stat column for both teams looking almost identical. The Hoosiers will be back on the pitch on October 21st to take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And another thing that's happening this weekend on Saturday is Hoosier Hysteria. Are you going?
Yeah, this is my first time going. I'm actually really excited about it.
Oh my gosh, this will be my 100th time since I've been going since I was 3, and I cannot wait to see the freshmen show out because they're putting on candy stripes, so they have a lot to live up to.
Always a great time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrew. That's all we have for you this week. For more campus and local news, visit our website at iustv.com.
And like us on social media. Like us on Facebook at IUSTV News and follow us on Twitter at Hoosier News Source.
From all of us here at IUSTV, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.